Define your goal, your long-term goal. Don't just look at the short term now, today, like, oh, I need to pay my rent. I need to get a car. Okay, what are you working towards? What's the long-term goal? Because then that's going to help you define today's action.
Welcome to the Brand Hustlers Podcast, where innovation meets ambition and stories of success inspire the next generation of business leaders. Each episode, we dive into the journeys of those who hustle, those who make their dreams a reality, and those who are shaping the future of business. Whether an aspiring entrepreneur, a seasoned business owner, or simply a dreamer with a vision, you're in the right place. So get ready to ignite your passion, learn from the best, and transform your ideas into action. This is where your brand story begins. Welcome, Brand Hustlers. What's good, Brand Hustlers? It's your boy Ryan Roundtree, also known as Tree the Creator, and we are back with another episode of the Brand Hustlers. Today, we're here with Tiah Kuniken and Uzuri Spa here in Pikesville, Maryland. So, what's up, Tiah? Thanks for agreeing to take part on this Brand Hustlers episode. Today, actually, always a funny story as to, the meeting. I actually met Tiah here. I was just walking to my car and she just randomly said, I had a pole in my hand. I'm not sure how this pole gave away that I'm a videographer. I'm not sure how I gave it away. It was like, oh, you're a videographer? I'm like, yes. But long story short, came in for a brief conversation that ended up staying for like 2 hours. Just kind of just uncovering, where she is in her business, that she's actually here. I didn't know that this spot existed, and this spot is awesome. I'll provide some B-roll in this video, but this spot is awesome. She's thrived through the pandemic, expanded through the pandemic, and has an awesome brand. So, Tiah, Uzuri Spa. How long have you been in business, and how did it come about?
So Uzuri just turned 7 years old on the 17th, and I kind of forgot to celebrate, but happy birthday. So it's been 7 years now, and I honestly have to say the journey to this point has been amazing and not orchestrated by me. I literally was just a vessel. I literally was married, and I remember I was not in a good headspace, a good heart space. I just remember hearing go to school. And you ever been so down and miserable that you just all right, okay, I'm gonna just do what I hear. And I just was like, okay, I never questioned it. I just okay, and go to school for what? And then I heard massage. So I'm like, Now at the time, I'm in real estate for maybe 13 years at the time.
Wow.
So I said, well, I'm just going to go. So I went to school, hated it. I'm like, I didn't hear that. Came back about a week or two later, I heard go to school. So I was like, okay. So I found another massage school to go to, graduated 7 months. I was scared because I didn't know where I was going. I just followed the instructions, and step by step, I was led each time. When I graduated, I had 2 jobs, and I did really, really well. Had a full book at both spas. I kind of kept one as my main and jumped around to get some different experience. And I remember sitting in one of the interviews and I heard, don't get comfortable. And I was like, okay. So 4 years later, I got the message that I needed to leave. It was time to go.
Okay. All right. So 4 years later, you decided to go, and you ended up here. Is this the initial location? Were you somewhere else? And how did you end up here?
So my daughter used to get her hair done Suite 6A. And when I left, I had no plan. I'm just following instructions. So I'm like, okay, where to, God? You got me out here butt naked in the streets. What do you want me to do?
Not butt naked.
And quickly, these suites popped in my head. So I called, and they had one suite available, which they rarely do, which was downstairs in 2A. When I walked in, it was 2 rooms in the bathroom, and it was so ugly down there. And then the front room, which became the seating area. It was my initial thought. I've always been here. I think I've been transplanted here, just planted here for a specific purpose, to serve the women, mostly women, but the people in Baltimore. So
Okay.
I'm easy access to Baltimore County and Baltimore City.
So I'm not gonna assume that women is your top client here. Is there any particular, I would say, any particular services that you offer that cater to like enriching women or like their mindset? Because I know we had a conversation. It was just, I think, even going through that journey of becoming a therapist in that time and the transformation of Tia, I'm going to call it, listening and being sensitive to being told what to do. Let's talk about that for a while. How did what is, I mean, you, of course you're scared, but what's happening in that time frame? Like how do you feel as though you were being told? What drove you to like really move forward in it? Because there's one thing like to be told one thing is like, and I'm not sure if I'm crazy, if I'm just hearing stuff, but something in you has to click and has to actually make those moves. What's inspiring you to actually make the moves?
Well, I
And
felt like where I was emotionally in my marriage at that time, I felt like anything could be better.
okay.
Like I was just not in a good place. I was, mentally, emotionally, physically, you name it. I just wasn't in a good place. And somehow I knew that, but nobody around me would tell me that. Like nobody would tell me what they would see. I had one person that was bold enough to talk to me and have real conversation with, but still
Mhm.
allowed me to go through the process of finding myself and making my own decision. So when I heard the voice, it was just like, okay, all right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go. I don't know what this means because no one in my family is a massage therapist. No
Right.
one in my family is a healer, and in that sense. So for me, it was like a journey that I literally had to walk all by myself.
So you are now the plug, so to say. You've been gifted this opportunity. What is your hope in being that you have this gift now? Like, what is your hope in sharing your gift?
My hope is to change my family dynamics because I like to live my life on a more holistic level in every way, but I'm still growing in that. Also, that I'm able to be a catalyst for someone else to change. The vast majority of my clients are women. Men that come in are husbands or boyfriends. It kind of varies, but a lot of times, women, we are
Hmm.
the leaders in self care. So I feel like at the end of the day, like I am looking to help women. That's what I'm called to do, is to help the women to shift their mindset, shift their spirit. But it's not me. I think that when people come in and they actually experience a massage by me, I've been told it's a different level. It's not something that they've ever experienced before. So I know it's not me. It's not my own power. I'm just a vessel.
Okay. There's a lot of responsibility in being open and being a vessel. There is also, it can be a slippery slope. You know what I mean? As far as like the energies in which, you come across like, and I know this person, I practiced massage therapy for 10 years. For those of you that do not know, what can you say that because I would say have experienced some weird energies. Can you give me like a short story or like an example of like something that may have been a little off, like not saying like you were like casting out demons or anything, but but like has there been any instances where like you was like gotta like, oh god, I don't know if I'm gonna do this, or kind of need to protect your energy.
Yeah, it has been. So I remember when I initially acquired 2A, shortly after I had gotten certified for vaginal steaming. So I didn't want women to like be walking around in gowns while the next client shows up and it could be a man. So I had gotten 6A, and I that was solely the yoni room. And I had a client come to me. She came, she was had a lot going on in her past life and a lot of trauma, sexual trauma, and well, she wanted to conceive. So that was her whole purpose in coming, and she heard that steaming could help. So one day, I put her on a regimen. She was coming in every week for steaming. We would do womb massages to open up everything. Just get her relaxed, remove anxiety, and calm her down before we even steam her. So it's one particular day. I left her in the room after we started everything. She was sitting on a stool, and I left the room and I came back in to check on her. And all I remember was her hair was down and she had long black hair. Her hair was like covering her face, but it was a slither in her apart in her face.
Sound like a
And
scary movie.
oh my
Go ahead.
gosh! First thing I thought of was The Grudge. I was like, oh, so I walked in and I had to gas. And I was like, oh, so this who's showing up today? I was like, okay. So I quietly left the room. And she kind of like looked up at me. Her head just moved just a little bit. And I was like, okay. So I left back. I was like, Lord, I need you to cover me because I don't know what's going on here. So I went back in the room. I told her she can go ahead and get up, and it was time for the to get up. And when I tell you, she came out of the room just bouncing all over the place. She was just so excited, so happy, completely different person. Her skin wasn't green. Her hair was
Hair
pulled
was
back.
green.
Like her skin had like a muted green color, like almost like just skin. So I know that what I do in all facets, whether it's massage or it's vaginal steaming, we're releasing some things to the people that actually will submit to what's going on. She was happy and she actually got pregnant right after. So it needed
She
to come
was,
out.
yeah, she was releasing something was occupying that space.
I'm honored because I feel like for me to be able to help someone to that degree, to help them birth new life, that's the honor to be a part of.
So I would say, what else I would say makes you I would say passionate about being in the healing space?
Creative ideas, being able to birth out the ideas that I don't think people are thinking of, honestly. Like, I love giving body treatments, body scrubs.
Hmm.
So, because I'm a dual license, I'm able to kind of merge the two, massage and skincare.
Hmm.
And not a lot of Black women are getting treatments like this. They get them scrubs when they go on vacation,
Right.
but they don't, home, they don't think of it that way. So I love also being able to change their minds about how they see self care, that it's not a once a year birthday thing, or me and my husband are coming for anniversary
Right.
massages. This is a lifestyle. This is wellness.
Hmm.
It's very preventative. So having these conversations is really, really beneficial. And it just opens me up to more creativity that I'm able to, like, okay, I see there's a need for this. Let me put
Right.
this together. And then it just starts coming out.
Gotcha. So I've walked through a number of times. All the services that you provide? What are the services you provide? Because I also see that there's an area full of herbs and spices and what I mean, scents and those types of things. And then you have the yoni room, the vaginal steaming room. Then you have the massage rooms. Like, what else? What do you offer here?
Because my mind is so busy, I offer massage therapy, and there are a number of modalities within the massage. Hot stones, cupping, bamboo massage, that type of thing. Stretching is a big thing now because a lot of people don't want to take their clothes off, but a lot of people don't stretch either,
Right.
which is huge. I also offer facials, customized facials. So recently invested in a system that will help me to scan the body, so to speak.
Okay.
It's actually just a face scan, but it's giving me information and feedback on what's going on in your systems, your organs. But that helps me in massage as well as vaginal steams and skincare. I offer what else? Body wraps, body scrubs, like you're in a full infrared blanket. I also have another blanket where it has some stones in it that's going to actually protect you from EMF. Big on detoxing and
What's the EMF? I'm sorry.
electromagnetic frequency,
Okay.
basically radiation. We put ourselves in danger of it every day with cell phones, computer use, just the towers that are up. We start to feel that in our bodies, and we might not know that that's what it's from, but a lot of times it is. It's a combination of things, but we definitely are affected by all of this stuff. So I also offer some services like ear candling, which a lot of people are not familiar with. Vaginal steaming, that's a big thing, and helping women to stay out of pain in that area, because we have so many women that are getting hysterectomies and they really aren't given any direction when they're told there's something, a disorder going on with their womb.
I think there's a level of ignorance when it comes to it. They're not. I guess I'm not a female, so I haven't necessarily done any research. So vaginal steaming is beneficial as far as like preventing having to get a hysterectomy or having like fibroids or like what benefits does vaginal steaming bring?
So I think we have to wrap our minds around the fact that it's layered. Steaming is just one component of healing the womb. and it can help. But a lot of time, if you're not eating properly, you're not getting sleep, and you are not dealing with the root cause of it, which is your emotion behind the disease, I'm sorry, then
It's disease. You said it right. You said it right.
then you're not going to get very far in the healing. And a lot of people want to see results right away.
Right.
However, this stuff takes time because fibroids don't just pop up overnight. Endometriosis doesn't just happen overnight. So the same emotions that got us here, we now have to kind of roll it back and then sit down and really do a deep assessment of what's going on and why it's taking place. And then I like to kind of have women just sit and talk if they're willing to, because not a lot of women are going to continue to come in. It's a fad. So still more education needs to be had in the realm of yoni steaming and how beneficial it is. As far as the benefits, yes, it does. I will say that I have shrunk in my own fibroids when I found out that I had them because I had to do some deep work within, like I had to go deep because I was like, wow. So I'm my own case study as well. So the herbs do help. It's different herbs that we blend for whichever disorder that's going on. Not all blends are the same for each disease or disorder. Of course, you have to take into account for people who might have an allergy, switch up some of the herbs, things like that.
So, Yanni Steaming, we have massage, we have so many services that we offer. Is there like a place? Is there something are there like any type of like workshops that you do that would involve like getting like a group of women together or a group of men? Not going to be, one sided, but something that, we can kind of help to bring a little bit more education to like the awareness of the various self-care modalities.
Yeah. It was a segment I wanted to talk about 2 years ago, and I wanted to name it The Combos We Don't Have.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of conversations within our communities that we should be having, but we're not. And I don't see a lot of wellness practitioners having them.
Give me one. Give me one.
So, okay, I have one coming up, a workshop called It's a Brunch and Steam.
Brunch and steam. So
Yes.
we eating
We eating and then we gonna go do some yoni steam, or we gonna
steaming
yoni
the
steam.
steaming the coolers.
We steaming the cooter.
We're gonna eat. Go ahead.
So we're gonna be talking, and we're actually having. It's gonna be the close of Women's Health Week.
Okay.
On the 18th, and Dr. Julie Neal will be in the house, and she's actually a pelvic floor therapist. So, in addition to educating women on yoni steaming, I felt it was necessary to educate women on pelvic floor therapy because of what I hear women talk about the reasons why they want to come in for a yoni steam. It could be because, oh, when I laugh, I can't hold my bladder, things like that. And I'm like, oh,
Why can't I mean, it was just funny. You know what I mean?
It's a little bit deeper than that when you hit 40, after 40. So, just educating women and making them aware of what the possibilities could be. A lot of my clients are older. When I say older, they're older than me, 50 and up. So when they're coming in, they're not coming in with the same awareness and education and exposure to the health industry that the younger people are. Like there's a middle line. You have like, I feel like my age group, like we are like, okay, we're getting all this information, but the people that are older than us are not necessarily, they're going about it the old school way.
Right.
Whereas though we're kind of incorporating the holistic into the old school, but now you have a lot of older people saying, I want to do things a little more holistically, a little more naturally. And then the younger people, of course we have to educate because they're invincible right now.
As we were at a time. As we were.
So yeah.
So in these workshops, do you have them regularly, like once a month, or is it something that happens like every quarterly or something like that?
So I just started them back up because for a while I did not have the space. I would say since last June, I didn't have the space to facilitate workshops here. But now that I'm back to being a solopreneur, I don't know how often it's going to be. It's usually an idea will pop in my head. Or if I see repetition in the conversations that I'm having, I'm like, oh, I need to put something together for that. I had a workshop maybe 2 weeks ago about wrinkles.
About wrinkles?
Wrinkles, yes. How to avoid them, how to manage them, or how to get rid of them. It's a lot of women that are concerned about wrinkles and aging.
I think we all concerned about wrinkles. We're like, I'm going to get them right. You know what I mean? I guess it's one of those things. Of course, you can hydrate the skin more and do those types of things. Yeah, let me not act like I know everything, but
Well, I think for
um,
women, though, especially Black women in the climate that we're in,
mhm.
we are super hyper aware of our looks.
But I mean, our generation doing good though.
You think so?
I think we holding up. I think I think we holding up pretty good if I
Yeah,
say so
but
myself.
remember, the vast majority of my clients are older than me.
Yeah.
So they're concerned about saggy skin, wrinkles, hyperpigmentation. Having this workshop I was able to introduce them to some different products that could possibly help them.
Hmm.
Also some of the modalities that I offer when I do a facial that could help mitigate their wrinkles.
And you get into like nutrition side
We
of
did
things
talk
with it.
about
So I
nutrition.
mean, I
Yep.
think that's one of the bigger things. A lot of times we try to put things on the outside when we should be trying to heal from the inside.
That's my whole motto. Yeah. So we talked about nutrition and we talked about reducing sugar. Sugar is a big, big thing, which is why I'm like, oh, hey, we need to,
Sugar's the devil.
it's the devil. We talked about the different sugars, pastas, and what forms are we looking for sugars. We're not talking about natural sugars from like an apple. We're talking about added sugar, like you got to have sugar in your tea, you know, honey in the tea, and then you eating spaghetti with sugar on it, and then you follow up with cheesecake. Like,
And then you're eating all times of the day.
yeah, like, and then, you know, fasting, you
Yeah.
know, that's important. You need to go on intermittent fastings every so often because it's beneficial for your whole body.
Yeah.
I have conversations. A lot of times, the conversations, though, I don't even know where they come from. It's just people would say stuff and then we just flow. And next thing you know, they're coming back like, oh, I did what you told me, what you suggested, and it worked. And I'm like, what did I tell? What I tell
I
them?
ain't write none of that down. Like,
None of it.
like what was it that I said again?
Oh my
Take
goodness.
notes on yourself.
I know, right? I was talking to a client and she was getting a yoni steam. And a lot of times people don't want to sit in by themselves. And I have to kind of like, okay, it's time for me to go, like, and back away and let them have the time to themselves. But this particular client, she comes up every so often and we talk and I just remember us having a conversation about Queen of Fua's book, Sacred Woman. She was like listening, asking questions. She went and got the book and she said, when she came back probably a year later, she said, girl, she said, you know, I'm engaged, right? I was like, really? Congrats. Turns out she followed the book. She did the healing. She did the work. She stopped dating, cut everybody off, and just got into herself, figured it out, and lo and behold, her husband was there at her job. She didn't never even recognize him, never knew him. They just happened to
That's
work together.
crazy.
So I was like, I'm just so happy that I was equipped with the information to
Right.
share with her that this information changed her life. I didn't do anything special. I just don't gatekeep.
Yeah. It's to be a blessing or just to be an open book. I feel like it allows you to be 'cause you can't get anything, with a
Yeah.
closed fist, kind of just letting it pass, pass through. And those things will come to you. So you've been have the workshops and we're teaching. What does the future look like for Uzuri Spa?
You know, I somehow knew you were going to ask me that question this morning.
Somehow did you prepare? I know you didn't write nothing down.
I did not. You know why? Because I feel like as I evolve, I can't really plan for that because I have no idea. I don't know if I'm going to be a teacher.
I'm
And
telling you,
then
I already know you're gonna be a teacher. I'm trying to put a lot. She's trying to avoid it, trying to avoid it. But
I've been running from a lot of stuff, honestly, over the years. Like, trust me, a lot. But I have no idea. My daughter now wants to become an esthetician. You know, that's something that I'm looking forward to helping her get established in the industry. Right now, I feel that I'm in a shift. Before, it was just, I was not using my holistic coaching aspect. I would just label myself as a massage therapist or as an esthetician. But now I feel like I've found some tools that can help me feel like I'm actually doing my job
mhm.
of being a holistic coach. So incorporating the consultations, and so my business is changing in the sense that I'm no longer taking 6 to 8 clients a day. 4, I need to have energy. I
Mhm.
need to be able to be prepared because it's been 7 years, but it's been almost 11 years that I've been practicing. So now I'm kind of like, I found myself and I don't need to work so much in so long hours that I'm draining myself out. I would say that when I began, I will probably say up until Uzuri turned 7, I didn't really have a lot of strong boundaries because I was trying to make sure that I was available to people who needed me and not really looking at the fact that sometimes people would not be the most considerate of me and they wanted me to make their emergency my emergency. When I realized that, I'm like, wait, I gotta pull back. I have to. It's a part of my self care. So my business is changing. So I really can't tell you like where do I see it. I see Uzuri being in another country. I can say that. I don't think that we're gonna die out here in Baltimore. I think that once people actually start catching on, prayerfully, the Lord will direct some people my way that actually have amazing work ethic and customer service skills and want to learn and want to actually contribute to a business that is pouring into our community in the health section.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I definitely see some teaching happening. She's not gonna say I receive it. No, but seriously, what advice would you give your rookie massage therapist self?
Go with the flow and just let go because the more that I am relaxed, the more the client benefits and the more I benefit after that. So it's like a three-way reciprocation, if you will, or a two-way because the more you pour into someone, they ultimately feed you back and regenerate your energy. And that was something I didn't understand because I was trying to control what I was doing. And once I got out of that, it was like I just get lost in the music and feeling and letting things be. And it's like a trance almost. I know you know this because you've been a therapist before. I don't know if that just comes from loving what I do or if that's some supernatural intervention going on, divinely connected at that time. I don't know. Haven't figured that out. I just go with it now.
I guess what advice would you give for you have a passionate massage therapist and they definitely have the gift. They're having the issues with like monetizing what they're doing. Like they're just pretty much just giving everything away. Like what is how do you maneuver in that space? I feel like money is always the slippery slope when it comes to this type of work.
I think it took me a while to figure out my worth and my value in this. And I would honestly say, like, that is subjective into what a person is willing, like, what the practitioner is willing to give and to do.
For instance, of course, right out of school, I would say most therapists now, they're gonna go to a massage envy, and it's
Hmm.
like the book's gonna be from morning to night, and they've given their best energies, and it can be decent money. Is more of a you're beating yourself up more than you're actually you're not being paid for your worth. So how would you help them navigate in that space as far as like I would say believing in themselves and even knowing their worth.
Okay, so a lot of people have asked me what's my niche. I would say if a person feels like they have to define themselves within this practice, then find your niche because that is going to help you stand out. That is going to bring the money to you. And then also knowing all your needs will be met if you're truly called to do this. Because the more we push, the further the goal gets, right? If it's not meant to be, not meant for us. And I think a lot of people I see it a lot. People come right out of school, they get a massage table, and then they're like, oh, I'm gonna just go do a massage at somebody's house and that easy. So it's not hard to do. But these people that you come into their house, 9 times, I would say 7 out of 10 times, they really aren't paying you what you're worth because you don't have the overhead, so you haven't even priced it out. You're just trying to get a quick buck. But have you sat down and really looked at the expenses of what it costs for you to take your car, the wear and tear on your body, which was one reason why I stopped doing house visits because it was just too much. You lifting this table up and set up, break down, put it in your car, pick it up again and pack it away. And
Hmm.
it's a lot. It can be fun when you're young, but when you start to get older, it's kind of like, wait a minute. I've been doing this for 5 years now. It's time to stop. Like, is my income going to go up? Like, what? Define your goal, your long term goal. Don't just look at the short term now, today. Like, oh, I need to pay my rent. I need to get a car. Okay, what are you working towards? What's the long term goal? Because then that's going to help you define today's action.
I'm looking forward to your courses, which you don't know exists yet. I'm looking forward to you continuing to grow in this space, provide value for the community, and definitely see you as a teacher in this space. Not only helping massage therapists, but not even massage. It's not even for them. It's for not the general population either.
I feel like because I have such a range within my background, I know it's there because I've studied it, but I have not exposed it to the public yet, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I had gotten to a point where I realized, like, oh, wait, you can't throw this idea out there. Every idea you get, you can't just put it out there, right? Because then people are going to, I was like worried about how are people going to look at me like, dang, she and everything, and I get it. I don't have a niche because I excel in just about everything I do because I'm not going to put something out there just because it's trendy. I don't follow people's trend. I create my own trend. Whatever I'm doing, it's going to be done with excellence. That's just how I believe it is. So I don't have a niche in the realm of this because it's all connected. You can't separate.
So I've definitely learned that some things are all connected. 'Cause I'm actually I'm working on a couple things myself. And it's like, oh, well, I got to start a new business for that because X, Y, and Z. Like there's a variation that makes it different. And I have to treat it completely separate, and then I have to market it completely separate as well. So I know exactly what you're talking about. Dealing with it right now.
Right.
It's in the realm of branding and marketing, but then it's also in the realm of something else that's nice and closely dear to my heart. So I know exactly what you're talking about. But I am, like I said, most very, very excited for you to start to share your message, share your perspective and your ideas in the realms of YouTube. We're gonna be on YouTube real soon.
Oh
She
God.
doesn't know that.
That's so scary for me.
Why?
I feel like because the world is so critical and so mean
See, but
and
we don't
harsh.
care. We
I
don't
know you.
care that what the people are. They're mean. They're critical. But most of the times, those people they're projecting and they're trying to find fault in what somebody else is doing, or oh, that's not right, and they can sometimes it can only go off of their ignorance of not knowing. So those people exist. Those people are necessary.
They
They're
are.
necessary to keep you sharp. They're necessary to have you grow like, oh, well, let me go fact check myself and let me do my homework, or let me do this, and not necessarily to not downplay what you're doing, but they're essential. They're essential to your personal growth. Because if everybody loves what you're doing something wrong. Because let's talk about health, for instance. If in the changes that you want to make in helping people to make the right decisions with nutrition, you first have to, that's probably not the best thing that you should be doing or eating or consuming because of X, Y, and Z. Depending on how they take it, it could be, oh, you think you this, you think you that. Like it is literally them going inside themselves, like, who does she think she is? Bringing this to my attention. But if they really think about it, it's like, she's not lying to me. And like, what is her intention is not to lie to me. It all depends on where they are
Yeah.
and what space they're in. So I honestly think that a lot of stuff I'm actually have come to the realization, I would say, within the last 6 months to a year. It's like, oh man, if you don't have any haters, you don't have anybody that's like kind of resisting what you're doing, like you're doing something wrong.
Well, I think for me, it's also the fact that I want to stay in the realm of healing. Like, that's what I know.
Hmm.
That's what I study. I'm not a marketing guru. I'm
Right.
not going to be perfect. And when I read the stuff that's going on, it's just like scary to have to like put out what you know. But then again, there's doctors, that are highly educated and the public still finds a way to go in on them.
But I mean, all the doctors wasn't getting A's, and a doctor 70%, don't mean he's just because he got his doctorate don't mean, he's
I
a
agree. I agree. I mean,
same thing with massage. Like just because you came as a massage therapist don't mean that you're, like you said, the ones that are built for this. Like there's the reviews of, I don't know what you did, I don't know. I just throw your hands up because
Right.
I'm just here. I just came. I was a vessel. And
Right.
that's it. That's it. I'm just here to be the liaison to facilitate. And I'm not claiming to be a healer, but I know that there's a greater power that works through me.
Absolutely. I think that's the beauty. That's why I stay. That's what I love is the fact that, those times that you're just so tired and so drained, you don't think you have one more massage in, and then you're like, it's the end of the night, it's 7 o'clock, and you're 4 massages in already in a day. And for my schedule, I also do waxing. So to add waxing, a facial, massage in there, it's kind of like, oh my gosh, I just want to go home. But then someone comes in, and the last client surprisingly has great energy. And then the music playlist just starts acting like it was touched by the Holy Ghost. And now you're like, oh, okay, you got this renewed sense of energy, and you can just go for that next hour or 90 minutes. And then afterwards, you're just feeling like, I didn't think I had it in me. But it really wasn't you. As long as you're willing, you can move forward with whatever it is. And that's what I love. Because I know that it's something greater in me that is operating through me that's allowing me to have this longevity when they tell us what
10 years.
10 years, right? I'm going into 11 years and I'm not done yet. Like the tip of the iceberg hasn't even been chipped off yet.
Right. And I'm coming back, y'all. I'm coming back.
So yeah, I'm excited about what's going to. And I wanted to also backtrack because the point and purpose of the workshops is not so that I can only teach, but also to introduce the community to a network of modalities that they might not know exist for them. I had a client the other day. I was telling her about the floor workshop coming up, and she's like, "Oh, that's the thing. What exactly is that?" Now this is the woman that has a child, and she never heard of pelvic floor therapy before. I mean, of course, we hear Kegels, but like to actually have a doctor for that, people didn't know. And I know men don't know.
Absolutely not. This is
When
all new to
we
me.
all have a pelvis, though,
Yeah.
and the muscles down there can definitely get disrupted and cause problems, much bigger problems than we actually could think of. So this education is not only, the workshops aren't only for women. It's just that the women are the ones who seek out possibilities of healing when they notice that it's a problem. So I like to bring awareness to what's available for our healing in general. I'm hashtagging doulas, moms to be,
Hmm.
things like that. So it's like, okay, who do we have? What can I do? I'm not a nutritionist, so let me connect you with a nutritionist. I'm not a dietitian. I just know these things because I read them. It's a part of the health industry, and that's what I'm a part of. But I'm not certified. I'm just going to tell you this. I read a book on it. Go talk to somebody. I'm gonna point them in the right direction.
Funny. So I'm trying. I'm not intending for this to be funny, but can steaming be beneficial for men?
Yes, it can be.
No, s-
Oh my gosh! Please don't bring up. Don't say it.
Okay, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done.
Okay, I know
Uh,
where you're going with this. Yes, steaming can actually be beneficial for men. I've steamed only 2 men actually. They had hemorrhoids.
Okay.
So yeah, steaming can be beneficial. Also in the realm of prostate health.
Hmm.
So there's a specific way, of course, that you can't have your man parts in the steam, but so it's a way that we actually help you support you while you're steaming.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. I said I had to throw that in there. Okay, come steam your Franks, guys.
Not your Franks, not the beans either. But
No,
yeah, it's really good. I think not a lot of men are black men are concerned about prostate health.
I don't think I know. I personally am concerned about it. My granddad actually passed away from prostate cancer, so it's like even with I get my physicals every year. At the fire department, like I bring it up like, hey, something that I need to be worried about, or X, Y, and Z. Like, well, that's really showing up. If you really want to go deeper, like there's this stool collection thing, whatever. And they have also started to do screenings, which I didn't do this past year, but so it can be beneficial as to the healing of the prostate. Like how would that work for the guys?
I don't know because they don't come back and tell me. I mean, the 2 men, they like I said, they sting for hemorrhoids, so
Hmm.
that has helped with the hemorrhoids. But as far as the prostate, there's different herbs that actually help
Okay.
with keeping cancer cells at bay. Like I also have, you mentioned earlier about the herbs that I have. I just started the apothecary. Well, I've had the apothecary for a minute, but it wasn't on display.
Okay.
And now everything is on display for people to purchase herbs that they would need because I did not see any apothecaries close by in this Pikesville corridor. Pikesville, Owens Mills, Catonsville, like there was no access to coming in and getting loose herbs. So one of the herbs that I have for cancer cells is cat's claw.
Okay.
Of course, there's some other herbs that I have for men, specifically horny goat weed, which helps to increase their libido. There's a tonic that I make for men to help reduce sugar in their blood. And I learned this from an African man. It helps to kind of get things flowing.
Okay.
I used to sell it to the barbershop that I used to go to when my hair was like cut all off. And every time I walked in, I didn't have to explain it because I guess they sensed that I was
That's
a little
her,
nervous.
yo. Get that, yo.
Yeah.
She...
The guys would speak for me, the barbers would speak for me, and I would sell out some of the things that, again, I study. I might make things. Okra water, I know it's like become a hot thing these days, but some pregnant women have been drinking it for a long time. You know, it helps with easier delivery if you're having a baby vaginally. Also, okra is really good at reducing sugar in the blood. So if you're diabetic, you should be eating okra or drinking okra water. So I make that. You know, sometimes people will come in for these events and workshops, and I'll have some different things that they've never experienced before. Sea moss, or I call it ladyfinger tea because some people are off put when I say okra. They're like, okra? I'm like, yes. But when they drink it, they actually love it.
So sea moss. Sea moss is, of course, I'll say the hot thing. Should everybody be taking sea moss?
No, no. There are contraindicators. Like if you have hyperthyroidism, you should not take sea moss. It is going to increase and it's going to completely throw you off. Especially if you've gotten it in range, it's not good for you to take it if you have hypo. Now, hypo, if you're like low in thyroid hormones, then you can take it to bring it up to normal levels. But then
Yeah.
you want to also make sure that you're not taking so much of it that it throws you over either. So that's something you would have to work with your doctor on to make sure that you wear your levels, you know. So yeah, I tell people all the time, like you shouldn't take it if you have a thyroid condition, first and foremost. But a lot of people don't know because a lot of people just
Yeah,
jump
all we
on
hear,
trends.
yeah, all we hear is, oh yeah, sea moss, sea moss. Everybody has all these minerals and like, yeah, but some things, it may not be great for everybody. Like, and I say, of course, learning that things, based on like your blood type or based
Mm-hmm.
on like your heritage or like where your family is from, what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
your region, that type of thing. Like all those things play a huge part in things that we should and should not be like consuming
Yeah,
or over consuming. But
but how many people are really looking that deep into themselves?
and I think that's the huge problem, with us as a society not being able to listen to your body and just kind of like, oh, well, this worked for them. And it sounded like they had a similar ailment as me or a similar thing when the reality is, who am I? Who am I? Like, what is my genetic makeup? What am I allergic to? Like, even like things that irritate you. Like, there's certain things that, me and my brothers, I have four brothers. None of us are, we all have our things. Like, we're completely different,
Mm-hmm.
in so many ways. And it's just like, how can you think that there's a one size fits all, for anything? And of course, people, when you find something, yes, scream it from the moon, there may be somebody else that will benefit from it, but it won't be beneficial for everybody. And I think that's where we often
Mm-hmm.
get messed up. Oh man, that was trash, or like, it just didn't work. It didn't work for you,
Mm-hmm.
if it didn't work for us, then it's dumb, because it may, hate, because you use an Android and I use the iPhone. I mean, yeah.
Not putting that out
You
there.
got the green bones, you know what I'm saying? But and then the same thing, we'll talk bad about Androids, y'all talk bad about iPhones, and like everybody has different experiences,
You know, I mean, but the study is the study.
Yeah,
You
the
know,
study.
the study says, you know,
The green bubbles are better on the eyes.
you
Say
know.
no. No, but you know what I'm saying.
I
It's
get
just one of those
it.
things where, there's no one size fits all for everything, you
You
know.
know, a lot of women that have come in the yoni room. I never mentioned why I added that on. So prior to it being on the show, Atlanta Housewives or one of those gossipy shows, I knew about steaming. So probably around 2015, I had started, I was working at the spa and one of my clients had mentioned, oh, you're going to love so and so. She's awesome. And she does vaginal steaming. And I perked up because, mind you, I was in a horrible marriage at the time. Well, it wasn't good for me.
Mm-hmm.
And things had changed. It just wasn't working out between us.
Mm-hmm.
But physically, those changes manifest. For a woman, this is where fibroids come from. So I didn't find out I had fibroids until after I divorced.
Okay.
So there were things changing in my body and I couldn't explain it. I couldn't figure it out. And of course, the doctors were no help. When she said vaginal steaming, things perked up.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, okay. So I immediately drove to DC and I got my first steam. And I loved it so much, I would go back monthly. And I said, hey, if you ever decide to offer a course, please let me know. I would love to take it. And she did probably 2 years later because I was here in 2016 and I transitioned from real estate. I was still selling houses, and it actually happened to be the best year ever. I made the most money in real estate out of the whole 17 years I was in it. That year was the year
Okay,
for me.
absolutely.
And I think, like I said, I think God was just setting me up for all of this to come. And I went on ahead, I was selling real estate. I quit my job at the spa. I had enrolled in skincare school and I was driving to DC for training twice a week and raising my daughter. I don't know where all this energy came from, but it was there. And well, now I know why it was there because I've been studying myself a little more. But at the time, I was like, girl, I just couldn't think. I just had to move, keep moving, keep moving. And that's when the Yoni Room became. And I said, well, women in Baltimore need this. There's so much molestation, so much sexual trauma, so much activity going in the wombs that women are like sexually unhealed
Mm-hmm.
and reproductively unhealed. So I felt it was a need. So I didn't jump on it because it was a trend. I was on it before the trend. So when it hit, people started searching me out. They would find me on the internet, like, oh, I heard you offer Yoni steam and can I come in? And I'm like, yeah. And I knew that it was just because of the TV show. It wasn't because it was a lifestyle. You can tell who comes in because it's a lifestyle for them. You can tell who just come in because they like to follow fads and trends. And that's okay. Still got me exposure.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, like I said, I don't follow trends. Yoni steaming will probably always be a part of Uzuri just because I understand the benefits. After I got certified in DC, I went and got nationally recognized by Steamy Chicks, and they are nationally recognized by the National Doula Association. So for all the women that are afraid to get yoni steamed,
You know what I
please
just
don't
heard? You
be.
know what I just heard? And it just popped in my head.
What?
Retreats. I don't know. It's like when you're talking about all, it's like the whole healing process. I feel like there's a week long retreat somewhere
You
in there.
know,
Like my mind is like, oh, okay, all right.
it's funny because I thought about that before. It's just, again, I have to pace myself and what it is that I'm putting out. Like, I actually started making my own body butter. I've been making my own body butter, but to actually make it and people buy it, that's a whole nother level. You got to be consistent with
Mm-hmm.
that. And I haven't quite found anybody that can make the blend that I make and then make it in mass quantity. But then I also enjoy the small batch process,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, it's something special about being able to create it, put my energy in, sit down, and it's like very meditative while I'm mixing and,
Mm-hmm.
putting things together. That is healing for me. That kind of slows my nervous system down. It's therapeutic. So I make small batches. And when I sell out, I sell out. And then people are like, oh, you got any more butter coming in? I'm like, y'all gotta, I don't know. Cause it's kind of like I'll make enough and then I'll sell out and then I might not have nothing for a month. So buy it up while you can. It's
Yeah.
the whole thing. So, but the retreat, I definitely thought about that.
Women's healing retreat.
That's big now, like retreats. Those are big things. Again, I don't follow a trend. I feel like I can do it like
Even if it's on a smaller scale, like, like it doesn't have to be this huge 300, 400. It could really be like a group of maybe 15, 10 to 15. You,
I like
you kind of,
small groups. So yeah, like
yeah.
10 is good, a good number for me.
And it's
Spend
more intimate, especially when you want to get into, like, if you get into like the sexual trauma things
mm-hmm.
and whatnot, even just the self-care, like the healing process, and even just sharing your personal, journey in that
Mm-hmm.
space, I think will be very, very beneficial.
I'm sure. I think that we are all here to gain experiences, to share our experiences and help each other evolve.
Absolutely. That's what it's about.
That's the whole premise for us being here, being human
Right.
and going through everything that we go through. Because even when we share how we evolve from something, it they
Helps.
share and then it in turns again comes back to us the gratitude and the things that the emotional side of things that we get to actually feel and experience. So
Hmm.
that's been major driving factor in my business because if it was not for the people reaffirming my purpose here, I don't think Uzuri would have survived. I had so much doubt and I was so like afraid to make a mistake, but they were like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. Even times when I thought I gave a horrible massage because I was tired and didn't get to sleep the night before and been up all day. They felt something different.
Yeah.
So assurance that I had along the way. I was just so grateful for all of the women and all of the people, even the men. The few men that I've massaged, they absolutely love it when they come. I remember the first time I gave this man a facial. His wife is a regular client here. He never had a facial before and he was nervous. And I said, well, don't be nervous. And we just chatted and everything, broke the ice. When he got up from the table, I've never seen a grown man bounce on his tippy toes to his wife. He was just walking like cheesing ear to ear. And he was just like, you see my face, you see my skin. He was, rubbing it and everything. It was just so funny. And, I thought it was just such a beautiful moment because rarely do we get to see our black men in total joy. And he, in that moment, just soaked it all in. And I was like, I needed that. I needed to see that. So yeah, like even just the women that come in and they're like, "Oh, this is my first time getting a wax," and I'm like, "Okay, well, what's driving you to do it? Is it trendy, or is this something you really want to experience for yourself? Are you going to maintain it? Because if you're not, there's no point in you doing this right now. Are you doing it for a trip? I don't know, because then they concerned about the pain, and I'm like, well, don't do it. If you, I'm never one. I'm a business owner, but I'm never gonna be like do something that's against your comfort level just so I can make money. Like, no, I don't operate like that. In the end, they want to go through with it, and I'll talk to them. And with the sugaring, it's a different process than hard waxing. So I walk them through it. I tell them what I was going to do. I allot enough time in the event that they need me to stop or need to take a breath, whatever the case is. And then I show them when I get like half side done. Then I'm like, oh, look how clean that is. And they're like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. All right, keep on going, keep on going. And they just gather themselves and then I finish up. It's good to see 50, 60, 70 year olds coming in to get waxed and trying something new for the first time and absolutely loving it and overcoming the fear.
I don't know. I just thought of like 4 or 5 YouTube videos and just that conversation. It's all in the realm of educating. You know
It
what I mean? Like
is.
just sharing the information. Who knows the sugaring is a thing? Who knows that, one, that it exists, two, the benefits, or sugar versus hot wax. Like
That's
this.
that's a mouthful right there.
Eh,
Hot wet, right? The sugar is not hot. We tend
and
to,
then the pros and the cons and
yeah.
how it
I
may
already got
destroy
it
the
typed up.
follicles. And
I have a
why would
whole
she tell me that? Why
presentation.
would she tell me that? Say,
I know, right? So my first career, I was in FBLA when I was in high school. I was always a business major, even when I went to college.
future business leaders of America. If you do,
Yeah.
those of you do not know.
So I always knew how to type in the office field, but so typing and writing everything out, and that's me. I'm not the first person to jump on the screen and talk, but here we are. I'm talking, and yes, I get the point. It's educational. And I know I need to talk more, so I do plan on allowing you to push me more in the area that I need strength in, because I do believe that God, the creator, always sends people to help along the journey. And this is the next phase for me. I see it, I feel it, and I absolutely know it within my spirit that this is the direction I'm supposed to be going in. Easing up my work schedule to be able to do other things like
Yeah, life,
make products and travel back to Africa,
life.
uh, and learn about other things. Some of the services also, I offer a service called the Dohan, which is a 2-hour body treatment. This is actually a bridal ritual that they do in Sudan. So in Sudan, only married women or brides to be can get this service. So if I was to visit Sudan, they'd be like, nope, you can't get it. I thought it was such a beautiful practice and I loved what it rooted in. Like, there's something about cultures that actually honor marriage and they prepare for a lifelong marriage and union. And I don't think we do that here in America.
Well, I mean, America.
I know. So I love rituals. I love love.
Hmm.
Like I love love. And to help women prepare for their union is just something special about it. I joke a lot and I say I must have been a beauty consultant for a queen in my previous life, because the way in which I care for women in this life, it just feels so right and feels so natural to me. So to prepare a woman for her wedding, skin, face, relaxing her body, moving all of that tension and energy through to prepare her for the man that she's going to stand in front of. It's just something about it that just it's so fairy tale like to me.
Nice.
But the 2-hour treatment entails a full body scrub made with dilka. It's a natural scrub. They use like cherry pit seeds, crushed cherry pit seeds, and carrots, and some powders, and all natural ingredients that are going to help to lighten and brighten the skin. Now, mind you, in Sudan, the woman gets this for 30 days. Well, they used to get it for 30 days, every day for 30 days, or 7 days, or 10 days, however many days they wanted, I guess. The tradition, from what I understand, is not practiced as much anymore. So they don't do the full 30 days.
I'm like,
But
oh, again. Say no. Like I can't feel my.
but they get scrubbed and then they get set over top of coal with scented wood. And the wood is actually going to help them to purge out toxins from their bodies. And it also helps the smoke actually helps to tighten the vaginal canal. It's believed to do that. Of course, science hasn't proven any of this.
Hmm.
And they probably won't for reasons of capitalism. Let's just call it what it is. So if there is some truth to it, then we won't necessarily scientifically know.
Oh, they'll figure out a way. Make this has to be this special. They'll figure a way.
Well, the wood itself, they use acacia wood,
Hmm.
and that actually has some medicinal benefits to it. So that's one of the woods, and tila wood is the other one. And actually, they said that I read that it can actually cure gonorrhea. Like men get smoked as well. It's also good for arthritis because you're like wrapped in wool blankets.
So smoked sausage.
You're smoking your sausage now.
So
When it's steamed it and boiled it.
smoked sausage.
So yes, and then afterwards, they send them home. They let them go out the door. They get scrubbed, smoke for an hour or two, and then they go out.
Gotcha.
Well, here it's not quite like that. I changed it up just a little bit because we are accustomed to a certain level of luxury here. So I scrub and then I put them on the smoke for an hour, and then I take them back off and I put them on the table and I wipe everything off with some warm towels. And then I proceed to massage the body butter that I make, which has 4 different butters in it. We're talking
All buttery. All buttery.
all buttery. And then, but your body just
Oh
feels
yeah,
like so like, oh
I'm
my
sliding up
gosh.
the table, thinking about it.
And then I top it. It's a Dohan butter. So I use the Dohan oil as
Hmm.
well as the 4 butter blend because the butters are actually going to heal the skin, help with skin regeneration. It's like deeply nourishing, but it's not greasy.
Gotcha.
And then the scent of the Dohan oil is just mind blowing. I send people out all the time and they just do this the whole way home. They tell me, girl, I could not stop smelling my hand because I only do one for a reason.
Oh, it's petty.
No, it makes them want to come and get the service.
Yeah.
So or they want to buy the oil, one of the two. The service itself is very relaxing. It's deeply healing.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's very grounding. One lady, the first person I did it on, she was like, "Oh my gosh!" She was just smiling ear to ear. It was like she was in a whole nother world. And when she finally came out and she sat down, and I'm like, "You okay?" She's like, "Yeah." She said, "I'm trying to find the words." She said, "I want to say that was almost as good as sex." I was like, oh my gosh. I said, please don't ever tell your husband that because then he's going to wonder what the hell is going on in that spa. But she was like, it was just so grounding. But she's also into Reiki.
Okay.
So she was able to channel while she was on the table and release some things that was like really troubling her. It was just amazing. So those are the things that I like to introduce in my
Mm-hmm.
spa. So uniqueness, I think Uzuri is a little different in that fashion. I don't want to just offer basic facials or basic services that you can go anywhere and get. There's ingredients that I use in some facials like camwood, and that is it's a red clay from Africa. I had to order it from Africa, and it's very good for detoxing the skin, and it makes you look really bright and just beautiful, naturally glowing skin. Kwasil, which is the Ethiopians use that for their skincare routine. So I actually used to do a segment called Beauty Secrets from Africa, and it was on my website, and I would explain what I'm doing. So if it's sugaring, because that is an African process, I learned about it before I went to Nigeria, and I did not have a chance to get the service done while I was there. But when I came back, I was so fascinated that I ended up looking for a waxer in Virginia. I was going on a date. And I was like, let me find a waxer. And I could not find one. She was the only one open, Turkish woman. And she ended up training me on waxing, sugaring, because I'm assuming one, because we're so far away, I can't take her clientele. She trained me on sugaring. Yeah, I've been going ever since. I got rid of all of the hard wax. So it was more about educating myself
Mm-hmm.
on services that would benefit our community because I know from my work experience that putting hot stuff on our skin long term cause darkening, hyperpigmentation. So that's the number one complaint when women come in. It's either ingrowns or it's too dark. The sugaring can help with the ingrown situation right away, but the hyperpigmentation, it takes some months. But they've been coming back consistently because they love sugaring that they're starting to notice a difference that it's lighter. Their skin is a lot lighter. So they'll never go back to hard waxing because of
Why would you want to put sugar down there anyway? You know what I mean? Say.
so I mean, and it's good. I've waxed a couple of men.
Okay.
They like cried on the table almost, except for one. He did really, really well. But the other ones, yeah, I had to make one get on the live.
There's no desire of mine to get anything waxed.
Well, he was a bodybuilder.
So I did bodybuilding too, but I'm not getting. So I'll shave. I've shaved my legs and I've done nair. I've done actual just shaving, but
Uh-huh.
waxing, nah,
Yeah,
it's
y'all
not a
can't
desire.
handle it.
It's not a desire of mine. No, I don't.
But
No.
sugaring is really, really good. I would say the results are the women are raving about. Yes, it's a little bit of pain, but it's no different than the pain that you experience with hard wax. And you're dealing with more trauma in some cases.
Mm-hmm.
I've been told, like, oh, I went to this lady, she burned me with the wax. I've gone to this lady, she didn't care when I told her the wax was too hot. She just like blew it and then put it on me anyway. The rooms are too cold. And let me just tell you how my brain works sometimes. Women kept coming to me from this chain and they were like, oh, I don't want to go back there anymore. I just want to support Black businesses. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's great. But when they would tell me what their problem was, it was always the ingrown. And I had to think back on my experience. And I'm like, Lord, why these women keep coming here for the same thing? Why are they all trying to leave? And then I was reminded of my experience. Then I was able to think about how I got ingrowns and how does the whole process happens from the time you walk in the door in the building to the time you leave. Everything is done in like 10 or 15 minutes. I am a little more patient and have a little more time in my schedule for waxing services. So my goal is not to get you out to fit two people, four people in an hour for
Right.
waxing. My goal is to make sure that you're comfortable And yes, it's not going to be the best pain, but trust and believe the whole time you're going to be laughing. We're going to have a good time while I'm ripping his hair out.
Are you crying?
But
Yes.
we're going to get the job done, right? Yeah, that's my goal. I think of deeply into things, but that's kind of how.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, especially if, you have the experience and that's what it's all about, like solving the pain points or the problems that people are having with if it's another service or what you've experienced. Like, that wasn't the greatest,
Yeah.
And I know there are some people that are like me and would want something an alternative or it is.
There was
So,
this lady who used to come in and she would get waxed. And she would get waxed and she would get her vajacials. A vajacial is a facial.
she knew my face like
Yeah, it's a facial for your lady bits, inner thighs.
it's a face. I guess it's a
Yeah,
face too.
it's a face. Oh, okay,
It's a face.
I guess.
Vajacial.
She would bring her own terry cloth robe and she'd tell me all the time. She said, "This has been the best experience ever." She said, "I've never gone anywhere and had a relaxing wax. And after the wax, here comes the steam, right? And it's soothing. And we would do the vajacial and whatever hairs were left over, ingrowns got tweezed out. Like I take my time through these services. I treat someone else's body as if it's my own.
So with the vajacial was the steam, is it equivalent to a Yanni steam or is it
No,
like
this is
okay.
like the steam that blows on you from when you get a
Okay.
facial.
Gotcha.
So it's not the sitting on the only stool. But get masks, they get enzymes and all of that jazz. So really lifting hyperpigmentation and reducing ingrown hairs by plucking out the ones that broke off or whatever, I think is very important. But again, as Black women, and I'm fair skinned, I know what trauma I experienced within my body
Mm-hmm.
and externally. So I kind of can gauge, like, okay, if the woman is like, if she tells me like this is a problem for her, then I'm like, oh yeah, I got a solution. Even down
Yeah.
to underarm detoxing. It's important.
Right.
People need it.
Yeah.
I haven't added it on my service yet, but people
Yeah.
need it.
Absolutely.
It's so interesting. I have been studying, well, I just started studying human design. Have you gotten into
Human
that?
design.
It's so interesting to me. But what I've gathered so far is that I am absolutely operating in my purpose.
Oh, okay.
And that's a beautiful thing to happen to stumble upon this. It was all orchestrated, but when I really.
This is always just just kind of stumble across. Just kind of came across it. How'd you come across it? Is there like a book that someone
So
recommended or was it just
I hired a coach. I've been looking for a coach for a few years, but I was adamant about not hiring someone that was in Baltimore, especially doing the same thing that I did. I got trust issues.
Yeah, I mean it's probably best to have that separation.
So I hired someone who is in California and she's a colon therapist. And I had been watching her for months on social media, probably maybe 2 years actually. And when she offered this course, I decided to go ahead and jump in there because I felt like I couldn't get myself to the next level because I'm not going to push myself for so far, but I did feel stuck at one point. Meeting her has been the greatest thing. It's something that I did not imagine would happen and how I would come into this. So she's exposed me to a few things, but that human design was like what really stuck out to me. And learning about myself, like I've always been into me. Now it's just worse. It's like it's deeper on a deeper level because I'm understanding more about who I am,
Mm-hmm.
what my purpose is, why do I react the way that I react. This tells you all of that. And I know we talked about religion and things like that, but I believe that everybody's journey is theirs to discover who they are, no matter how that unfolds for them and what religious aspect that happens to be for them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe everybody's supposed to reach glory the same way, if you will.
That would be a conversation we would not end, but go ahead.
Yeah, it won't end. And I actually, I mean, I mentioned it to
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah,
because we've
absolutely.
talked about it before,
Mm-hmm.
but I would never mention it to anybody else at this point because I am done with that whole
Yeah,
conversation.
it's not even something that's it's to be like debated. Like you're like
Yeah.
people, we spend so much time trying to prove that we're right or they're wrong or.
That was one of the things that I learned about myself is that it doesn't matter. I'm not right and I'm not wrong. I don't care to prove myself to be right anymore.
I just am.
I just am. Whatever that is and how that looks for you, I just am. And one thing I was listening to this morning, the lady in the video was explaining there's 5 types of people. Well, she said 4, split up into 4, but you have a 5th one, which is like a manifested generator. You have generators, you have projectors, you have reflectors, and there's one more. But like I'm a generator, right? So think of it this way: there's somebody that creates the spark,
Mm-hmm.
then someone comes and acts on the spark and develops that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's somebody else pushing to get that spark up and like
Right.
broaden and everything. Like I'm just starting to study it, so I might be saying it wrong, but it's like really good information. So I'm one of the people that I get a lot of downloads, I get a lot of ideas, and
Mm-hmm.
I can start it, but it might not come to completion unless I have a projector that's going to push me to completion.
Right.
So my coach just happens to be a projector. And so she's like, yeah, you gotta, like do this. But she's more of my coach on the sense of just growing spiritually and looking at life differently. She's not like a spiritual coach, but she definitely is a spiritual woman. And so we've been clicking, we've been vibing, I've been growing, and I'm finding a new space.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I said I don't know where I see me going because I never saw me here. And as many changes that has come about just in this space in 7 years has been mind blowing to me when I think back.
I'm looking forward to the continued growth and meeting the generators and the projectors and all the people that play a part in this team. I know I've mentioned a few things, and my mind's going about a million miles a minute
It's
as
gonna
to.
happen.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's definitely going to happen. It's definitely
I've
going to
learned
happen.
not to talk about things that I have in the pipeline
Hmm.
because when I would talk about things, I would never finish them. It would never come
Hmm.
into existence. And for the longest time I could not figure out why.
And even me discovering certain things about myself as well, as like, yes, you have that, having that sometimes that initial spark, and it's like, but then there has to be other people on, like the projectors, there have to be other people associated with it to see it through. And I would say more recently, of course, trusting editors, trusting a VA, or trusting just different people in certain realms has definitely lightened my load, has definitely given me new inspiration.
It's
So it's like, yeah,
hard.
you don't want to relinquish that, the
Responsibility and the
control,
control.
the
Oh
control.
yeah.
That's the control.
But it's hard because a lot of times people can't live up to your standard, your
You
expectations.
gotta keep looking. You
Oh
said, and that's I
yeah.
think that was the thing. Like, yeah, I would, try out a certain editor, and it's like, well, like, I guess it works. And then it was like, you come to a place, it's like, nah, it's like and then you've wasted all this time. It's almost like you have to discover, and you have to discover fast. You have to be honest with
Mhm.
yourself. You have to be honest with that person. Like, it's not gonna work. And it's like, oh well, what did I do? It's like, it's just, and you may even give it another try. It's like, yeah, it's not what I'm looking for. It's
Mhm.
not what I'm looking. It's not. It doesn't line up with what I'm looking to create. And then you actually kind of. I mean, just hire 3.
Mhm.
And it's like, even if it seems like it's costing me, what you'll get on the back end is invaluable. It's
Mhm.
like, now it's like I felt I found a couple solid editors, and then beyond that, one of the editors is training a friend of his to do
Mhm.
what he does. And it's like, oh well, he said he can do this. He's trying out certain things. Like, oh, he ain't bad either. It's like, but allowing that, but and then that sparked another thought as to see how far we can take this. It's like, now I have this content I was already creating. Now it's like, now I can venture back to this other set of content that I wanted to create, because I stopped creating so much because stuff would just sit. You know what I mean? Because there's
Mhm.
so much. I'm overwhelmed with all the stuff that's on my hard drive already. So now it's like, let me dig into the archives a little bit. See,
See how creative you can get, right?
it's like, what do you want to do? You have complete creative control, and then send them something's like, that's it. That's it. That's
Right.
it. That's it. It's like, well, thank you. That's all I say is thank you. And then, like I said, the wheels are spinning. The wheels are spinning. And then you can take on a little bit more.
Because now they've proven themselves in a
Right.
sense.
But
That
without
it,
knowing that they were proving themselves though. That's the thing. There's a humility.
do we not know that we are hired to prove ourselves? Like, I mean, I know we submit resumes, but
But sometimes you've been in a certain situation where you've felt you've proved yourself another plane, but it wasn't right. Even though you probably did the exact same thing. It just didn't fit. Like you were a puzzle piece, but you didn't fit in that puzzle. That's it. So it's like you got the skills, but that's not where you're supposed to be.
yeah, that discernment comes in, and I think the other person needs to be honest with themselves as well. For me, and people ask me all the time, "Do you give couples massage?" I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I can't. Like I'm one person. I'm a solopreneur,
Right.
right? So I try to hire massage therapists. What good is having a massage therapist if the clients still only want to request you?
Yeah.
It's hard in this business for me. I would say for me, the way I look at it, and maybe I'm having a limiting belief
You ain't found the right
that I
partner.
haven't found the right person because a lot of people don't have the same passion.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm finding is that a lot of people, because it's so easy to pick up a massage table and go and accept whatever people give you for the massage, there is, and not everybody, some people have it's some really good traveling therapists. I know a few.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's what I'm trying to create for our people is the luxury of a top-notch spa when it comes to products, service, starting on time, ending on time, right? All the things that we look for from other businesses that is the number one complaint about Black businesses.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to navigate away from all of that and be a staple business with good intentions and
Mm-hmm.
good business practices. It's kind of hard to find people to work with that have that same mindset and that same drive that's willing to work for someone else.
They're
Usually they
doing it
have
on their
their own
own. Right.
thing, right? But then I find that a lot of the younger people coming up, it's kind of hard. And I'm not the only person that feels this way and experienced it. Yeah, I've had some interesting interviews, and it got to the point that I said, I'm not interviewing anymore. I quit. I'm gonna just stay to myself. Like I can't bring that in. It's too much for me. So I ended up bringing in other practitioners like a nail tech.
Mm-hmm.
There was a Reiki practitioner, there was a lash person, and a body contour specialist. So they all came in to
Mm-hmm.
Uzuri to kind of offer services that I wasn't offering. And this year, I will say, after all, and they weren't all here at the same time, but just over the course of 7 years, I felt like I needed to put my imprint back in here.
Mm-hmm.
It needed to feel like home to me. So I kind of made some changes and adjustments because I saw my business growing, and I knew that I would not have the space and the capacity to have anyone else here. So I made the decision to just ride it out solo, see where I go, and evolution is taking
Mm-hmm.
place. So you're catching me at a time that I'm like, I feel very vulnerable, but so scary, but I'm so looking forward to it
Mm-hmm.
because I know that I have not been steered wrong yet. So it has to be something great that's going to come about.
Oh yeah,
I,
absolutely.
and I'm trying not to be
Absolutely.
anxious about like what's next. So I'm just taking it day by day. So prayerfully, I'll get the right people to be able to train and have them come in and we can do couples massages. Usually the couples fight over me.
That's
You know
because they
what?
ain't had me.
They're like, you know what? You go your day, I'll go my day. We don't need to do couples massage. So I get a lot of that. So I do work with a lot of couples, and that's a beautiful thing. One time I actually had a couple.
It's almost pointless though.
What?
A couple's massage.
It is because one is a talker and the other one wants to rest.
Exactly. Or
Yeah.
is this like, yeah, it's almost pointless. It's
Well, I would say sometimes it can be There's a lot of education that needs to be had in the Black community as far as massage therapy goes.
Mm-hmm.
Because if one more person calls me a masseuse,
Monsieur.
I'm going to scream. And I'm always like, yeah, no,
Nah,
that's not what my license says I'm a massage therapist.
man, I got the license LMT. I got college credits too, baby.
Right.
I'm not a
So,
registered massage practitioner. Nothing against,
don't do
but
that because now we're all LMTs. You know that,
oh,
right?
they really?
Yes, they did change it. Yes.
Oh no,
I
they
didn't need
didn't.
college credits. I'm grandfathered in. So yeah, it's like for those of you that don't know, masseuse is a sexual.
It's a sexual connotation
Yes.
associated with masseuse and monsieur.
Yes. And it was a way that would, those were the ladies that actually paid their way through school. That's how they did it. So the whole happy ending conversation, and I've had men get on my table and make jokes because they were uncomfortable. I took it as they were uncomfortable. They didn't know how to ask that question, like, and anticipate what's next in the massage. Because if that's what they're programmed to believe happens in a massage, of course they're gonna like be nervous, like, okay, well, what happens? Like, my wife sent me here,
Supposed to
right?
end this thing. How
So,
do we end this?
so it's kind of like I had to educate them when they, made a joke about it because it's not a joke to me. Because now you're about to get banned from coming here. But I honestly felt like the questions, a joke. I can see,
I mean,
why it was coming up, and I can't even blame them. So I take the time to educate them, and then the questions stop.
and now on social media, I mean, you got, I ain't
You got
saying no
all these.
names. You
I
got
don't know
your
who.
dudes, but doing the massage, got strap across it.
Oh,
I'm like, that looks uncomfortable for both of y'all.
right.
He ain't getting no he hurting, he doing more hurting his back.
And hers. So it's the thing. Like,
Body mechanics ain't no body mechanic. He can't be licensed
no,
nowhere.
not at all. I mean, but you know what? At the end of the day, if those types of massages are relaxing a woman with him doing minimal effort,
They just want to
then
be touched. People just want to be
people
touched.
want to be touched. Correct. That's what I've gathered. They're gonna get touched any which way
They want to
that
be
helps
touched,
them.
and they want to be touched.
So I always tell men, like, I'll go to the barbershops and pass out my business cards because Mother's Day is coming up. So, hey, fellas, you looking for something to do? Send it here. I'm right down the street. There's so many barbershops on this strip.
Hmm.
I will introduce myself to different businesses and just let them know that I'm here, especially the men, because the men are always looking for ideas for the women.
Hmm.
At the same time, it's not that way for the women. Start to get the ideas when they actually come in and experience a massage. And they'll say, oh, my husband would love this so much. Oh my gosh. And then they'll get them a gift certificate. So it's always a good thing. But educating even the women on the term masseuse versus massage therapist is important as well, because a lot of things like, oh my gosh, I didn't know. I had no idea. I think we just need to continue to push forward and educate people on the different so we can stop feeling disrespected in our professions.
But it's ignorance. You know what I mean? They just don't know, and that's mostly what it is. Well, all right. I think we're good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tiah, for taking the time to talk with me and the Brand Hustlers. How can people find you? How can people get in contact? How can they book?
You can find me at www.uzurispa.com. You can book directly online. If you have any questions, contact me with the phone number listed on the website. I'm also on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Soon to be, I'm on YouTube. I'm going to have some videos on there very soon. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, Brand Hustlers. Appreciate you taking your time out to watch this episode of the Brand Hustlers with the amazing Tiah Kuniken, like Heineken. Kuniken.
Got it.
Of Uzuri Spa here in Pikesville, Maryland. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and watch these videos. Share them with anyone that benefit from just learning and moving forward in their entrepreneurial ventures. People that need to be inspired and just looking to connect with the community, the Brand Hustlers. We're looking forward to connecting. It's your boy Ryan Roundtree, also known as Tree the Creator.
Catch you on the next one.
You've been tuning in to the Brand Hustlers Podcast, the sanctuary for ambition, innovation, and the relentless spirit of entrepreneurship. We hope today's journey has fueled your passion, sparked your curiosity, and given you the insights you need to take your brand to new heights. Remember, every big achievement starts with a dream and the courage to hustle for it. Don't miss our next episode where we uncover more stories, strategies, and insights from the world of business. Till then, keep hustling, stay inspired, and turn your vision into victory. Thank you for listening, and remember, your brand's legacy starts right now.